What's the weirdest phase you went through growing up? For me, it was my funeral director phase when I was 9. Not the typical dinosaur or princess obsession most kids have. No, I spent 6 months convinced I was destined to work with the dead. It started after my grandfather's funeral. While everyone else was crying, I found myself fascinated by the funeral director. How composed he was. How he orchestrated everything with quiet dignity. The way he moved through grief without being consumed by it seemed like a superpower. The next day, I announced to my parents at breakfast, "I know what I want to be when I grow up." Mom smiled, probably expecting me to say veterinarian or teacher. "What's that, sweetie?" "A funeral director?" I declared, spooning Cheerios into my mouth. The milk in Dad's spoon splashed back into his bowl. Mom's coffee cup froze halfway to her lips. "That's interesting," Mom finally managed. I nodded earnestly. They help people say goodbye. It's important work. My parents probably thought it would pass in a week. It didn't. I started wearing only black clothes to school. I borrowed books about embalming from the library. The librarian gave my mother concerned looks when she picked me up, but Mom just shrugged helplessly. At night, I practiced my professional funeral face in the bathroom mirror. Solemn but not sad, compassionate but composed. I even started walking differently, with measured steps and perfect posture. The breaking point came when I converted my dollhouse into a funeral home. I used clay to make tiny caskets and dressed all my dolls in black. I was arranging my stuffed animals as mourners when my mom walked in. "Honey," she said carefully, "what are you doing?" "Setting up a viewing," I explained. "Mr. Whiskers is the deceased." I gestured to my teddy bear, lying in a shoebox lined with my dad's handkerchief. That evening, my parents sat me down for a talk. They were worried. Was I processing grief in an unhealthy way? Was I depressed? Should they call Dr. Thompson? "I'm not sad," I insisted. "I just think it's an important job." They didn't forbid my new interest, but suggested I explore other careers too. To appease them, I agreed to visit my uncle's veterinary clinic the following weekend. The day before our visit, Mrs. Wilson's dog got hit by a car right in front of our house. I ran outside as she cradled the lifeless body, sobbing uncontrollably. Without thinking, I approached her, hands folded in front of me like I'd practiced. "I'm very sorry for your loss," I said in my most professional voice. Mrs. Wilson looked up, tears streaming down her face, clearly startled by my formal tone. "Would you like me to help you prepare a proper burial?" I continued. "I've been studying funeral customs." My mom rushed out, horrified, and pulled me aside. "Sweetie, this isn't the time for your hobby." But Mrs. Wilson called me back. "Actually, I'd appreciate that. Rusty deserves a proper goodbye." I helped her wrap Rusty in her garden scarf and find a suitable box. I suggested she might want to include his favorite toy, and she nodded gratefully. We dug a hole beneath her maple tree, and I stood quietly while she said a few words. Afterward, she hugged me. "Thank you," she whispered. "That was kind." That night, as Mom tucked me in, she asked if I still wanted to be a funeral director. I thought about Mrs. Wilson's face, not just her sadness, but the moment when she seemed to find some peace. "Yes," I said, "but maybe a veterinarian first." My phase lasted exactly 2 more weeks before I discovered marine biology.